In 2023, she was honored as G20 Indian Icon Emerging Leader and appointed Vice President of G20 Global Excellence for Education. She is recognized as an international icon and one of the Asia's top 100 creative personalities. Sri Lekha, for you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Future of Successful Leadership Conference, where we redefine what it is to lead a heart-centric approach to leadership. Meet Srilekha Kaluvakunta, an international icon in women excellence, leadership, and inspiration. With a diverse portfolio that spans corporate strategy, program management, ESG, and education entrepreneurship, Srilekha is a powerhouse of transformational leadership. As a senior program manager at Infosys and vice president at G20 India, Srilekha seamlessly bridges corporate excellence with societal impact. She's not just a corporate leader, but also the founding chair of the Thinkers Advisory Board, actively shaping thought leadership in CSR, ESG, and education. Her global recognition, Asia's top 100 influential women, 40 under 40, and Indian icon, reflects the depth of her influence. Whether managing SAP Agile delivery across industries, guiding offshore releases, or mentoring future leaders, Srilekha demonstrates the essence of empowerment through excellence. Srilekha's dynamic presence and storytelling ability will leave you energized and inspired to embrace innovative thinking, resilience, and purposeful leadership. Participate as we define the future of successful leadership by listening to other global thought leaders along with Srilekha. See you at the ICT, a global conference at Kanha Shantivanam in Hyderabad, India.
Hello, good evening. So, my topic for the day is how unique thinking shapes the future of leadership. So, I was asked to talk about it. Uh, how do I? Okay. So, before we start talking about how unique thinking is going to shape the future of leadership, I would like to share my views on what exactly is unique thinking. So, as most of us have seen, unique thinking has become a way of life for many of us. We are required to think unique and different almost every single day to excel in our career and also in our personal lives. So, thinking different and unique, analyzing things and strategizing things has become a way of life for all of us. So I can't refrain myself from saying that we are trying to be really different, really distinguished, and unique in every aspect of our life. We are living in a data driven and thoughts driven world. Unknowingly and unconsciously, we are living by our thoughts. Our thoughts define our actions, and our actions define our outcome. So let me take a few minutes to introduce about myself. I'm Sri Lekha Kalvakunta. I'm an author and I've written the concept of thought process. It's about the thought life cycle framework. So apart from being a writer and an author, I'm also a senior IT management executive and an edupreneur. As I was mentioned, I'm an Indian icon, I'm an international thought leader, icon of Asia, women outstanding leader and recognized as the Diva Planet, Asia's top 100 prominent personalities. So something, I have my articles published within and outside India. So that talks about unique thinking, which is the first ever defined thought process concept in the world. I've defined what is there in a thought. So we all talk about thoughts. What is thinking? What is a thought? Did you think? How did you think? Your thought is good. But none of us have analyzed what exactly is there in a thought. Once we come to know what is there in a thought, then we can talk about or think about how to differentiate ourselves by way of our thinking and how to think in a unique and a distinguished way. For that, we need to go to this root level of what is there in a thought and what defines a thought, then after what is unique thinking, then after how unique thinking is going to shape the future of management and leadership. So I'll not go through the entire thing. I've received International Abdul Kalam's Golden Awards, which I feel really honored to receive that Kalam's world's record. So the crux of my philosophy is really simple. You think unique, that is when you act unique, and that is when you really become unique and distinguished. So it's a mantra that challenges the conventional wisdom of setting goals and seeking external validation. So instead, I expect my readers to become really creators for their own destinies, to their transformative power of their thoughts. So apart from all my recognitions, as per my nature and attitude, I try to stay humble and down to the ground. So what is unique thinking? We are what we think. Our thoughts define our actions, and our actions define our outcome. So especially when it comes to leadership, unique thinking forms the essential part of life, of our career. So as I said, first of all, we need to know what exactly is there in a thought for us to really make it unique and distinguished, and to shape the future of leadership for us and also for others. So where do these thoughts come from, and what is there in a thought? So this is the thought that is triggered in my mind that really made me think towards what is there in a thought. And I've observed it that the thought also has got a life cycle, which I defined as the 9 phases of a thought. I'll explain what are the 9 phases of a thought in the next slide. So the role of thinking unique has got its significance not only at professional work environment, but also in our day-to-day lives. So as a leader or a manager, we are required to think unique at our profession to manage teams, work culture, integrity, and efficiency. Likewise, in our daily lives, we need to be really unique and distinguished to keep our families happy and comfortable. So TLM forms the basis for our thoughts, and refinement of our thinking results in the success and happiness in life. So how do we do that? How can we define, refine, and fine-tune our thoughts based on our learnings, experiences, knowledge, perception, relevance, resilience, whatever we have learned, whatever we have seen, we have observed, we have analyzed, everything becomes a part of our thought process, and that based on it we can design our thoughts that will result in our activities. And how different are you from the rest of the people? What is the impact that you have made on the people is what is going to make you as an efficient leader. So what is a thought? What makes a thought so powerful? And how can we manage the way we think? It looks so simple. What makes a thought so powerful? We all think every single day. Can we live without thinking? Can we do anything without thinking? Thinking is a part of our life. It happens within us unconsciously and subconsciously. And what makes it so powerful? How can we manage the way we think? So according to me, a thought is what distinguishes a person, because thinking varies from person to person. My perception towards something differs from your perception towards something. That is what makes you different from me. That is what distinguishes you from me and unique from me. So a thought creates an identity to a person. A thought is what we live in every day. A thought is what we execute every day. A thought is what makes us, a thought is what makes our identity and our life. So, a thought is a goal oriented flow of ideas resulting in the reality oriented conclusion. Why do you think and how do you think? With some goal to see the outcome of it? Thoughts are virtual, but what we understand and analyze in the thoughts is practical. We want to see the outcome of it in the real world, but can we see the thought? It's actually virtual. We can't see the thought, but what makes us act upon it is realistic. So that is the difference between reality and virtuality. A thought is an idea or opinion produced by thinking or sudden occurrence in the mind. A thought put into action is what distinguishes a dream from reality. If we just think and we don't act upon it, can we see the outcome of it? For example, I want to go somewhere. I just get the thought in my mind, but I don't act upon it. I'll be where I am. I won't go anywhere. But if I get the thought and I act upon it, that I make up my mind or arrangements or call my cab, call my car and make my travel plan and travel, and then that is the outcome of the thought which I've actually achieved. So you need to act upon the thought. If you don't act upon your thoughts, it will remain virtual. So organization of thoughts make any activity or work a success or failure in life. So can we say that a thought decides our success or failure in life? All of us desire success in life, but how do we organize our thoughts so as to achieve the success what we desire about? So this is what I thought to be called as unique thinking and thought management for achieving the results what you really look for. We all talk about dreams and visions. So what is a dream? A dream can be defined as the recollection of thoughts that happened in the past or the vision of the thoughts that will happen in the future. So what is called uniqueness? I define uniqueness as our very own nature and ways of thinking and acting upon anything or any given situation. How do you act upon anything is what makes you unique. Then how do I act upon something? So it differs from person to person, how we react, that is what we call it, right? The aggressiveness, the pacific nature, aggressive nature, assertive nature, it is unique from person to person. Not everybody reacts and thinks the same way. So that is what makes your identity. As we have seen in one of the lectures or the talks in the morning, what kind of a person are you? When anybody asks us, what kind of a person are you? They have their own opinion. But it is not the same thing for two people. They won't come up with the same thing that you are exactly like him. There will be a difference. And that difference is what creates that uniqueness and identity for that person. So what defines a thought process? I've defined 9 phases of the thought process. The first phase is thought occurrence. The second phase is thought sustenance. The third, thought realization, thought organization and design, thought execution, thought outcome, thought reoccurrence, thought continuity, and the final stage is the thought lapse, where we forget about what we have done. So every individual's mind traverses through these phases of the thought, which forms the thought process framework. And this is a continuous process and a life cycle that occurs within each one of us unconsciously and subconsciously. We don't need to drive it. It happens unknowingly for every single person within the mind. So what happens in the thought occurrence? This is the first phase of the thought process where the thought gets triggered. or the thought occurs, which you call it as an idea. So we hear of this proverb, right? An idea can change your life. One good idea can make a real good or bad decision, will be the distinguishing factor in each and every one of our lives. So that starts with the first phase of the thought, which is the thought occurrence phase. Only those thoughts that what we have realized and we feel it to be really worthy to take it forward enter this phase of thought realization. So that feeling of importance we give to our ideas and thoughts is called thought realization. Many thoughts we don't feel it to be important. We just ignore our own thoughts. Let it be, I'm getting confused or I'm getting so many thoughts, I don't know what I am thinking. My mind is very distracted, I'm not focused towards anything nowadays. So all this is because of the thoughts, number of thoughts that enter in our mind, but they don't get realized. So the thought organization and design. After we realize our thoughts, what do? We know what we are thinking. We are at the third phase of the thought life cycle, of the thought process. We know what we are thinking. What do we do next? After we realize our thoughts, we tend to structure or organize our thoughts as per our requirements using some inferences of our surroundings, images, audio and video messages, our experiences, and knowledge. That means we are designing our thoughts based on our needs and requirements. So once you know what you are thinking, you need to act upon it. So how do you act upon it? You need to structure it. You need to have a design or an organization. You need to organize your thoughts. If you don't organize your thoughts, you wouldn't have a structured approach of acting upon it. Okay. So once you organize on your thoughts, then you need to execute upon your thoughts. You need to act upon your thoughts. You have structured your thoughts, you have organized your thoughts, you know what to do. Then after that, you need to take some action upon it. You need to execute our thoughts. What is required to be put into reality, to make that virtual thought which is there in our mind to become realistic, you need to act upon it. That is what is called the thought execution stage. And then you see the outcome of it. Once you act upon it, you see the result of it. And then comes the thought reoccurrence stage. So there are so many thoughts that you really act upon and you see the positive outcome of it. And for some of them, even you see the negative outcome of it. But if we consider the positive outcome of it, you see the good results of your thoughts being implemented and executed, put into actions. Then you forget about it, right? We do so many things. We do multitasking every single day. We work upon so many things we can't even remember what we have done yesterday or few days before. But again, after few years or few months, those thoughts reoccur to you. They come to your mind. What did you do 2 months before? When did I attend this conference? 1 month before. What did I do during this conference? So all this memoir comes to me after 1 month. So that is the thought reoccurrence. And if I want to continue on my thought, that will lead to the next thought. Somebody comes and asks me, you went to ICTA conference. What next? Then I will think upon what happened during the ICTA conference? How was my lecture? What was the feedback? What did I speak? What is the impact that I made on the audience? How did I make them feel? Then after, I'll have that continuation of the thought as to what next. The final phase is the thought lapse, wherein the thought comes to the end of thinking. We completely tend to forget those thoughts. For example, if I want to really recollect what happened during the ICTA conference 10 years after, I wouldn't be able to. That means my thought process has completely entered the phase of thought labs with regards to, with the specific to this event. So it happens like that for every single event, for every single activity, task that happens in our mind. And this is a recurring process. From thought labs, again a new thought emerges, because from phase 9 it goes to again phase 1, which is a new thought. From the thought which I have forgot, a new thought will emerge, either in continuation of the thought which I have forgot, or in alignment with the new thought which I am going to really act upon. Okay, now that we have understood what is thinking and then what is unique thinking, now we will see how unique thinking shapes the future of leadership. How can unique thinking be implemented, executed in our day-to-day life, in our career, when it comes to artificial intelligence? Let's take this example. This is one article which I have posted on LinkedIn. How should product companies, CEOs, COOs, or CXOs strategize their solutions to the problems, and how distinguished thought process helps? So when it comes to leadership, especially C-suite leadership, uniqueness is what is expected. At the manager level, at the team member level, we listen to the people saying that you have to follow that person. You should be like that person. You should be one among those people. You should be one among the team. So there is that commonality, that generic thing that we talk about at the manager level, at the team member level. But when it comes to CEO level, have you seen any CEO saying that this CEO should be exactly like that CEO? No, we never hear that. That is where the uniqueness comes into picture. One organization CEO cannot replicate another organization CEO at any cost. There has to be that uniqueness. So where does that come from? How can he run an organization in such a unique and a different way in the market, among his market leaders? How different he should think, how unique he should think, and what is his distinguishing uniqueness quotient? So that is when unique thinking really helps at the C-suite level in creating that kind of distinguishing factors, or the factor of change for the C-suite executives. They cannot be similar to the other people. They cannot replicate and copy the other person, the CEO of the another company. So to be updated in the market and to have a competitive advantage over other businesses and organizations, CEOs need to have a keen focus on the emerging trends and market conditions affecting the business and organizational goals. So to withstand as a market leader, one needs to be capable enough to overcome the hurdles and obstacles coming in the way as an organization expands and grows. So you should be capable enough to provide unique products or services to the problems that the organization comes across. So how can this be achieved? One needs to have a unique and a distinguished mindset to set the leadership standards of the company and to follow a different approach for whatever he does. His kind of execution, his execution style should be really unique and different. So unique thinking is the concept that deals with the processes of thought management, thought process framework, and thought life cycle leadership. When it comes to digital and technology trends like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and automation, we need to think out of the box and in a creative and innovative way that's completely new and unknown. For this, we need to have a completely different thought process when it comes to building a prototype or developing a new software or technology. Nowadays, we are living in an AI world. Artificial intelligence rules, robotics, machine learning. So for each of it, we need to have a prototype. While building the prototype, as you must be aware, we will be having Center of Excellence teams and innovation labs in a very enclosed environment, or which we call it as an ODC, where people have restricted access with the kind of ideas, new ideas generated, it's completely confidential. They cannot be shared. Those new innovative ideas cannot be shared even with their colleagues working in other teams. So in those cases, they need uniqueness. They need new ideas to generate every single day, to come up with a different approach, new technology, new innovation. So that is where you really start thinking in a different way. So what is that phase of thought occurrence? How new ideas can be generated from your colleague? There are 10 people working in the Center of Excellence team. So 9 of them get the same idea and you get a different idea. So you are the pet of your boss and you will get a one appraisal. So an idea can change your life. So how can we make our thought process unique? There are several methods and approaches on how can we make our thinking unique. We define the mindset and thought process of a CEO as a uniqueness of execution of his stages of a thought based on the knowledge and information from his experiences. So the entire company follows the CEO. Right, that is what is expected. A CEO is expected to drive the company, to drive the people in the company. So every single person in the company follows the CEO. They try to replicate him. They try to copy him, do the same thing whatever he does. So how efficient he should be to keep himself unique and distinguished, to stand out as a CEO and as a single person to drive the company. What if he gets influenced by somebody and he starts behaving like some person working in his team or in some project? How dangerous would it be? Can he withstand himself as a leader? Can he drive the company? So these are the competitive strategies of the market leaders that come up with to degrade the company, derepute the company, and to bring down the company from the market leader position. So in those cases, the CEO, the efficiency and the unique thinking of the CEO comes into picture. Explaining AI decomposition. So it follows an out-of-the-box approach that needs the thought process when identifying business objectives and stakeholders. Unique thinking is needed, which makes the approach really effective and helps in taking the key decisions of the company. In some cases, the predictive analytics also helps in understanding and solving the problems in a futuristic way. So once we take the decision, it's in the stages of the thought execution and thought outcome that we take the final decision of implementing the technology and processing the outcome of it. So CEOs must focus on AI when thinking about solving a problem or creating new products. If we say that artificial intelligence is the concept that talks about the uniqueness and a different approach of dealing with people, dealing with things, and new technologies and innovation in our life, then a CEO must focus on artificial intelligence. But again, there is a debatable topic on what is artificial intelligence and what is natural intelligence. Whether AI can be above natural intelligence or natural intelligence has to be more than artificial intelligence. I also run a non-profit forum. 10 minutes. So a star is not born by the book is born by the inner talent of the star. It talks about what is the theoretical knowledge and what is the practical approach. So some of the initiatives that I've taken by thought dimensions as part of social responsibility, environment, social governance, awareness, and education. The first one is a direction redefined. As we have all seen, we have different paths in our career. Managerial path, a directorial path, a technical path, a functional path. So whatever trajectory, career trajectory that we take, there will be issues. So there are issues during the time I used to work with few directors. And what are the issues that I have resolved or I came up with the solution through my unique thinking and thought process? And the second one is the movie sync up with reality. So this is all a practical aspect. So I think in a very practical way, in a very generic way. See, if we are application oriented or technology oriented, we completely talk in terms of new technologies. But if we want to implement the thought process in a very generic and in a very practical approach, these are the everyday issues that I have observed, I have personally come up with, and also heard from my friends, family, and colleagues about what they are going through and facing every single day. And who is going to find a solution for all these problems? Somebody who can think different from others. So reality versus virtuality, dreams versus reality. What is in the mind and what's outside? Thinking versus execution. So nowadays we must have seen, all of us must have seen this, what we think is not what we execute. But what is happening is, what we are thinking is getting out, but that is not materialized. And we are happy with what it is, that I am able to connect with that person. After that, what are you going to achieve? You just forget what you're thinking after connecting with that person. So there has to be some materialization of the thoughts that will result in the positive outcome of your thinking and thought process. That is when you are considered as an outstanding leader for whatever that you have talked and the connection that you have made. So awareness on the thought management and leadership aspects. Thought management for overcoming issues and success, innovative and creative thinking for the future, role model and inspiration for the professionals, knowledge-based induction of confidence and empowerment, helping people in making their dreams and aspirations come true. Striving towards betterment of the education, society, social awareness, resolution of issues and conflicts, self-exemplifier as a woman leader. So, some of the issues that I've come across, that I've heard from the people, what are they going through? Irrespective of whatever status that you have in the society, wealth, name, fame, and recognition, your connections always show down. Always, nowadays we are living in the connections-oriented world, right? We are living in the thoughts-driven, data-driven world. You are something in your office, you are something at your home, but you hear something from your friends talking about you which you're not okay with that. I'll take another 5 minutes. Okay. I'm in mid of the. Have I taken 30 minutes already? Okay. Sure. So actually this is a big topic and it takes a lot of time. Sure. So I'll just finish it off by saying that I also work with the PMI. This is with the Gyan Lahari, and I also work with India's G20 presidency. And this is my speech at the NTR Stadium. And this is the Emerging Leader of the Year award I received from Delhi. So being different is your superpower is what I feel, and simplicity remains on top of every possible stardom. I also work with Hyderabad Readers Group with 10.3K followers. This is one speaker session that I've attended. And this is a climate change initiative. I'm a goodwill ambassador for Prithvi. And this is with Kishan Reddy Garu and Governor Tamil Sai Garu. And this is a Zoom talk with the international author James Carpin. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
She certainly has some unique thought process here. A lot of work has been done, and I truly appreciate the work, accolades that you've got. At some point of time, we'll connect with you on Zoom and ask the speakers, even who've left and gone, to join. We would like to hear you more. But today, in the interest of time, I love the work that you've done. It's very unique. I will connect with you personally, but please allow us today to, yeah? But I am going to connect with you on Zoom for sure. That's my promise to you. Thank you very much. I think